always on my mind. I'm stacking knowledge, no time to waste. Gotta invest smart, gotta keep up the pace. I'm reading books, learning all the tricks, studying the market, making calculated picks. I'm saving up my dough, watching it grow. No more wasting money on things I don't really know. Financial smarts, that's my new swag. Investing wisely, no more burning cash, I'm building wealth. $1 at a time, going from broke to living the life that's prime.
What's good, everybody? It's your boy Reckless Ray Dinero, and we are back at it again with another episode of Future Financial Strategies. This is the portfolio update monthly recap where we go over my personal portfolio. We get to track the wins and losses, and obviously, actually, this comes in before the general public gets the crypto portfolio updates, but this is going to be revisited over there because June was an interesting month. You know, we were feeling pretty good. Get some more light in here. We're feeling pretty good, doing some stuff, making some moves, making some plays. We actually had a fully loaded month of income, which is interesting. We're liking where that's at so far. But the portfolios took some hits, so you know, full disclosure. You know, I give receipts, so. While we're doing that, let's jump into this really quick. We'll go ahead and give the full view here. Now, those of you who rock with me know that I use fully loaded real brokerages. We do it bigly. Let me make myself small, make this big. So currently, these actually, the year to date is counting money that I put in here. So like this isn't, but it's like fully loaded. We're sitting at about 20 grand across all the portfolios. One of the things that you'll notice is the family fund, this fund down here and the family funds. This is not my money. But we started seeding. It's one of the things that I've talked about with play for generational wealth, and starting to add some value to some of the children, because I believe that the predominance and my primary methodology when it comes to fixing an issue such as generational wealth is you start with the children. So we are doing just that, and you know, money where your mouth is. 1 share a month. I've got most of the months covered. I think I have like 4 or 5 more months, so they got 4 or 5 more shares going in here. But we've started and seeded this with some NVIDIA stock. You know, all the gurus, NVIDIA safe, big guy, they're doing things. That's an easy play. Obviously, they give you those plays. As we look at the day change on some of these portfolios, obviously Bitcoin has bounced back, so these portfolios are looking much better. We're still tracking to wait to get into an official play. I have a play that I made of my own volition on YBTC that I put in there. It's kind of a Hail Mary. I've learned a little bit more since I've done that play, and while I'm keeping it, I could have done it better. I'm just going to say that. So we're going to jump into the portfolio that is the most weighted. Well, actually, no, before we do that, I want to jump into my long-term holdings portfolio. So that way we can look at this portfolio, because there's only there's 3 positions in here, and I want to go over them. So in my long-term holdings portfolio, we've got 12 shares of NVIDIA. Obviously, we got a couple of shares of that NVIDIA stock play, and we're riding that out. I got some big dreams for NVIDIA. Thankfully, we're getting through a little retracement. I also have a few different holdings, which is weird. I don't know how this split off or why, so don't ask me. But on the website, it shows it as one thing. So I have 334 shares of DEFTF. That's DeFi Technologies. It is a small company. This is in the penny stock range. Well, it was in the penny stock range. I started buying at 60 cents, and we are up on the position so far. Or actually, no, we're down. We're down a little bit. It pulled back because I bought up, but I still have a few more buys on this. I want to get up to probably about, I want to get to 500 shares, to be honest. I want 500 shares of this, and I'm just going to sit and wait. This is one of my, obviously, most of my stuff is going to be crypto related, but this was a company that I came across, and, you know, a lot of the market doesn't know how to assess crypto. And this company issued a major buyback because their stock is so undervalued because the market doesn't know how to assess crypto companies. And, you know, I've got a thesis on this, and we're playing that thesis out. This is still well under my buy price for that. NVIDIA, obviously, we did pretty good on that since the split. We're still going to get a few more shares in here. Post-split, I still think I want at least probably 8 more shares of NVIDIA throughout the course of the year. Maybe. It depends. I'd like to have round numbers. So, like, we got to either get 3 more or 8 more shares because I either want 15 or I want to rock out with 20. The next is BETH, which is ProShares Bitcoin Ether Market Cap Strategy ETF, which is a futures play. One of the positions that took a major hit, obviously, DeFi Technologies Incorporated took a hit as well because crypto, it correlates over. Unfortunately, fortunately, it's what it is. It's part of the thesis. I am navigating on a Bitcoin standard, so a lot of my investments are going to be industry related because I believe in it, and I'll put my money where my mouth is, and I'll ride those waves. But this play specifically is for income. So we'll be seeding some positions in here. We're going to be getting some positions in the long-term portfolio that are going to be specifically just to produce income. I don't think any of our equities that are in here, we're going to have there. We won't have too much by way of, actually, I'm going to phrase this better. This portfolio will be split. There will be a section of this portfolio that will be for income generation, specifically for the portfolio. There will also be our equity. So I will allot myself my 10 positions of equities, up to 10. I'm probably not going to have 10, but I'm going to give myself up to 10. And then I'll probably have 3 to 4 income producing positions in this that's going to be producing monthly income. BETH being one of them. I don't know that this one will be as heavily weighted in crypto space things. I think I might do 2 crypto and then the other 2 to 3 regular industry, plain Jane, nothing special. Just, it's going to be high income though. Everything that I do is going to probably be high income. If it has to do with income, I want high income. That's just what it is. And then we'll have the solidified equity positions. Those I'm not necessarily having a requirement of a dividend. Dividends are nice, but that's icing on the cake as far as I'm concerned. These are companies that I would want to own forever or at minimum 5 years. And yeah, we're gonna do that. We're gonna just stack in those long-term plays, and it's gonna be beautiful. And we're gonna make some gains in there. And then I will have to turn on margin on this account as well because we do not want to have to sell off positions to get money out. We will borrow against positions to get money out. Now, going over into the important stuff. We're going to go back into the majority of the portfolio, which is our income position. And this is obviously my delve into high income ETFs. What are we looking at? We are looking at a bloodbath as far as investors are concerned. We are down 12%, 12.27%. I'm starting off over here because a lot of people don't. So we got to ignore. A lot of people don't show receipts, and I have no problem showing receipts. I have no problem showing what's in this portfolio. I'm not sitting up here telling you what about my big portfolio and flossing and shucking and jiving for the YouTube algorithm. I'm showing you the truth of what I'm doing. I am showing you how we are navigating these waves. I'm showing you the ups and the downs, when we win, when we lose. So we're going to give the gist, the skinny of this portfolio. which you're also going to get a piece of, but this will be in depth because this is specific to this sector of my portfolio. But we produced $719 in income off of this portfolio for the month of June, which is nice. That's almost a mortgage payment or a car payment for some of you guys. You know, that's pretty nice. How are we using this? That income is majority tied into our velocity banking strategy, which after we clear out the debt, we'll be living in this portfolio for at least 12 months. And then we're gonna take a look at what happens when you just keep ramping up the income and then using the income to pay for the things that are coming in and then continuing to ramp up the income. This account is marginable. So I do have access to $3,000 on top of what I got going on. I am not tapped into that yet. I've not decided to do that. We're waiting until we get the velocity banking piece going in here, and then we might, start dumping $3,000 chunks and then paying it back over the month, because we'll be at a point to where we'll be utilizing this income to get to the metrics that we need to pay all of our bills and whatever expenses we have for the month, which I honestly think for me, my goal has been, because like if I cut down to the quick, if I'm just doing like the bare minimum, I know I can get by on $1,500 a month. Like I can make that work. And we're obviously over we're over 50% of the way there. So that's awesome. But this was the first month that I got like a fully loaded peek at what this is going to be. The reason we are down 12%, I want to make sure we get those big red numbers there because I know people love that. No one talks about the losses as they're doing this, but obviously we are documenting the journey. And let's do a breakdown on the position. So I have a bunch of yield max in here. I have a bunch of yield max in here. I repeat, I have a bunch of yield max in here. I am a fan of yield max. Couple of the moves that we made, we got out of YMAX. Why did I get out of YMAX? It's not focused enough for this specific portfolio. So I'm in basically what I consider the golden opportunities of the yield max. I'm also in the ulti, which is a small cap covered call strategy. I like that one. So I shifted out of YMAX from last month, shifted into ulti. I'm doing 100 shares of ulti. I've got 5 more shares to buy. We're dollar cost averaging in, obviously, on all these positions. But my goal is to get these funds, all the positions. I'm going to have probably 4. I think 4. I might add 1 more in. But I'm really going to be pushing to get all these positions sitting at around $10,000 for each of the positions. And then we're going to see what kind of income that produces, and then we'll go from there. But the ulti, I wanted that because it's producing $1 a share, at least $1 a share. So like that's a given $100 a month that I can use within the portfolio as well. The other yield max positions that I'm in, Misty, the micro strategy covered call strategy, the Coney, Coinbase covered call strategy. Both of those are, what are they? Crypto related. And then last but not least, I've got my initial position that I did, which was the Roundhill Bitcoin covered call strategy, YBTC. This is my first position. I am debating on swapping this out with a different position. Not because I don't like it, not because I don't want it to be one of the positions in the portfolio, but it is very, and by very, I mean very inconsistent. Like when I originally started the position, it's just really hard because I'm already in position on it. So I'm really dragging my feet because this month was not a good month for YBTC. Since I've been in on this project, it's been the lowest paying month. But it's also on a month that Bitcoin tanked. Like we took a hit this month, which I think is why it didn't pay so well. Now, my Coney and my Misty both paid decent or well. And so I'm kind of wondering if I should shift over to getting the 10,000 into one of those two positions and making that the primary position and buy back into this one. But also the months that YBTC does good when Bitcoin's pumping, oh my goodness, it has the potential to make some big months. Like I've gotten payouts that would have been the equivalent with the shares that I have now, would have been easy push me over $1,000 for the month being in this position seated with the amount that I've got. So I think I'm going to keep it, because these aren't consistent. Obviously, it's based on how these companies do in the markets with their covered calls. And obviously, covered calls are banking. You're banking on volatility, but you're also banking on it going up. So with that said, it has to go up. If Bitcoin doesn't go up, then YBTC does not perform. And I got this for the bull run. That's what I got it for. That's why I'm seated in it the way that I am. I'm kind of wondering what the results would have been if I would have been in Misty or Coney, because like those have taken a hit on price. I feel like less of a hit though, because once Bitcoin starts running, all three of those positions are going to go up. But it just, oh man, I'm like, man, I really want that. Like if I can break, my goal for this year is to get over $1,000 a month. The ultimate goal, the next metric for me, because my original metric was getting over $100 in dividends. We got over $100 and then we jumped way past the $500 mark darn near immediately, making some tweaks, actually focusing on the account. $1,000 really doesn't mean that much to me personally from the dividend perspective, but $1,500 does, because that's my cut to the quick. While I'm in recovery, I'm really not doing that much anyway. Like I can subsist off of that. So that's the next big metric for me. Now, the overarching goal is 5,000 a month, which honestly isn't, which most people will be like, oh, well, that's not that much. Well, it's not that much if you're going to work and you got to pay to drive a car and do a bunch of stuff and spend excessive gas and be in commuter traffic and do all those things and have to get work clothes and got to be out here trying to impress people that don't even like you at your job to make them feel like you're doing something, like you got some motion when you're in the same spot you was in financially that you was in 5 years ago, 10 years ago. But $5,000 a month for me is well above my demarcation point of where I can just technically be retired. Like it's work optional at that point. Like if I get $5,000 a month, everything's covered. I'll be able to do all the investing I want, and I can do basically anything else I want within those confines of $5,000 a month. Which is funny because everyone tells you that you need 6 figures a month to do anything or you're a brokey. But let's talk about this. So if we're pulling $5,000 a month, I'm going to do some quick maths here. We're going to go ahead and talk about this. So $5,000 a month times 12. That's $60,000 a year times point. We'll say 30%, which dividends are only 22 to 25%. But we're going to say 30%. So that's minus $18,000. So 5,000 or 60,000 minus 18,000. That puts you at 42,000. Divide that by 12. $3,500 a month. That's above my alternative income goal of $3,200 a month with taxes included. Plus, I would be getting probably a little bit of that back. So that puts me at work optional. You can switch all of my stuff over and we can start using the 401k and all the tax incentivized things and maxing out everything before I get any money back in the HSA. At that point, all those things come into play to lower my taxable income at the job. So that way we can hopefully get a little bit back. But at $3,500 a month of passive from the alternative income after taxes, I'm straight. Like I'm good on that. Which is counter to the belief that you need 6 figures a month. Like what are y'all doing? Like that's paying for everything. Like obviously, situationally, if you have kids, obviously the number goes up. But at that point, it's work optional. That doesn't mean I'm going to stop working. Still going to work, but like you get to sleep a little bit better. You got a lot of options on what you do need to do and what you don't need to do at that point. Like that's a freedom number for me. But that first demarcation on that trip is the $1,500, because $1,500 a month puts me at work optional right now. Once I hit the $5,000 metric, I don't have, especially since I'm not planning on being in the States full time, that work optional is going to hit way different, because I can come back, work 6 months, go move boxes at Amazon, and just be richer than everybody. Got all the stuff that I want. And then for 6 months out of the year, I can live in the Philippines like a king. I can live anywhere. I can just set my stuff up to where I have a room here, and I can still pay for all the stuff. I can still control everything. It's going to be interesting. Or grind it out for another couple of years, get some more properties, do some more stuff like that. But honestly, what I'm looking at is getting set up somewhere else out of the country and getting in a situation to where I can get me like a condo or something that I have control over, and, you know, do the same thing that I do here, house hack it, and just not be there half the time. And this is going to be my play for getting there. We're going to be managing. This is an actively managed portfolio. As you can see, I've moved some stuff around. The YBTC, I'm probably not going to move that position, but we are focusing right now on dollar cost averaging that ulti to get to those 100 shares before the payout next month. So this next pay period that we get, we'll probably be looking at that. We are going to be switching out how we're doing the payouts on this, because this moving with a Bitcoin standard means you're going to see a lot of crypto stuff in my portfolio, crypto related things, especially during the bull run. I might balance it out outside of the bull run, but for the next 20 months or so, we're going to be dialed in on the crypto stuff, because it's our time. It's our time. It's crypto's time. I know it's bubbling slow right now. We're taking some hits. People are going to be like, oh, you're down. You're losing more than you gain. Well, I get paid next month too. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and jump over to one of my favorites here. Let me get this set up here. Oh, payout calendar. That's what we want. We'll switch it over to the dividend tracker here. So if I would have had all the shares that I bought throughout the month, because obviously when you're buying throughout the month, they're projecting, and this is year to date if you had it the whole year. So the year to date, we're not factoring in. We're looking at that annual income. I was really a lot more excited about it last month, but this fluctuates. So it's not guaranteed that this monthly average, this is if we pay exactly the same dividend that it paid last month. And obviously I'm using Dividend Tracker. I do have a referral link for Dividend Tracker down in the description. If you guys like it, give it a shot. I am a Charles Schwab user. Also have a referral link for that down in the descriptions. If you guys like it, give it a shout out, give it a tap, tell them old Reckless Ray Dinero sent you over there, and, you know, test some of these things out. But the things that I look at are the monthly average income right now. And this is basing it on if I keep the exact same dividends that they paid last month. The exact same. So that's saying they have the exact same month they had last month. The reason that this doesn't, for the high yield income, I use this as a snapshot only and kind of to project out like where I'm at. So I do look at the monthly average income. I'm looking at what they're projecting for July mostly, and the annual income. Like, I want this number higher, because obviously if we're looking at a $50,000, $60,000, we need $50,000, $60,000 in this for this number, relatively speaking. The monthly income also needs to be $5,000. Like, obviously we're doing that, but we need it to be first we need it to be $1,500. So we're trying to get this number to $1,500. We're over halfway there. Just crusting over it, but we're over halfway there. And last month we were well over halfway there. And honestly, if YBTC has a good month, if these hit a good month and we're in the middle of a bit during the bull run, after these numbers accelerate and go up, this number's going to go up. So during the bull run, like once Bitcoin starts moving, we're going to be looking at some really good numbers for some of these months. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if we don't touch $1,500 really soon for some of these months. But the issue is we have to be overshooting it so much that the average it's hitting around $1,500, because utilizing this strategy and looking at the income this way and knowing that it's not consistent, this is like a business. Some months are better than others. As we're moving through and navigating through these waters, where your income is fluctuating monthly. So you could have a good month, you could have a great month where you overshoot expectations, you could have a bad month where you come in under what you were expecting. And that's where the financial strategy and the way that we're looking at utilizing those funds and your financial literacy, your financial responsibility come into play, because then it's based on those months where you're feasting. Are you setting a little bit aside for when you're famished? Where's the money going? How are you doing this? And me setting up my finances and making the final decision that my household, the way that I'm doing my personal finance, we are running on a Bitcoin standard. What that means is that, like, everything that goes into reserves, we do not sit in cash. I do not believe cash is king. Bitcoin is king. And I understand that I have conversations in some of these chats where people are talking, oh, the banks are buying gold and silver. And I'm like, yeah, banks are also using Bitcoin. Banks are also using XRP to fucking do cross-border transactions. Like, there's a lot of context that you're losing, and you dial in on gold and silver, and it's like, cool. Have your economy collapse and try to leave with all your gold and silver bars. I don't want my standard for my finances personally, as somebody who is self-directed, as somebody who is 100% accountable for my finances. I don't want to be in any type of medium as far as the reserve and how my wealth is preserved. I don't want to be locked into something that requires permission, because permission can be taken at any point in time. And that's we've seen it happen. I could say something on one of these panels that these people don't like, and Charles Schwab could tell me to pull my money out of their bank, right out of their institution right now. Shut it all down, move it somewhere else. And I would have to abide by that, because I'm granted the access to these markets. They can't turn off my Bitcoin. So for me, my finances will be solidified. My wealth will be preserved in Bitcoin. It's my overarching thesis. It's what I believe in. And it's that simple, because I know for a fact that if you're asking for permission to leave a country, which you do have to in the event of a collapse, if the dollar goes to zero and you're holding gold, they've confiscated all the gold before. The United States has literally done that. It's when they took us off the gold standard, and they confiscated it. And if you were caught holding gold, if someone told on you for having gold, which we know we live in an era of implied social credit scores via cancel culture, they'll lock you up. They can't take away Bitcoin. I could leave this country. I could go order another ledger. As long as I got my key, my private key, I'm good. It's more mobile. They can't take it unless you choose to give it up. That's my thesis. So that's what I'm securing my finances with. I'm not telling nobody else what to do with their finances. This isn't financial advice. This is a documentation of a journey. This specifically is our journey to $1 million in net worth. Goal for this year is $250,000, $250,000 in net worth. I think we're going, I made that goal before I realized the gravity of what my portfolios were doing. And like, once I dived in and actually started sorting stuff out, that goal over the next 20 months should be slammed through. And then during the dip or whatever the market stabilizes at, we should be above. So the reason we're setting this up is because I don't want to have to ever spend an asset. I want to have a cash flowing secondary alternative income. And then we will leverage the secondary alternative income, because this doesn't take as much time as it used to Ubering, but I'm making, on average, my Ubering goals. So this has replaced me needing to necessarily go get another gig job. But what we might do is take some time, look for a better gig job that pays more than Uber, and do that, and use that specifically to supercharge this, because we really are only tackling using this once the debt is tackled Once we get that handled, again, we're doing obviously velocity banking, which we're using this as a supercharge addition to velocity banking. We'll be doing a video on that where we break that down. Once we get the debt handled, it's off to the races, because I really don't spend that much money. Like, the only time I accrue debt is when I'm just hardcore investing into the market. We've utilized a lot of tools to get this account bulked up to where it is as fast as we have. So we got some debt. Got to pay the debt back. Just what it is. Also, during bull run, coming up to a bull run, we leverage those credit cards a lot. And I understand service charge, service fees, 20%. No. I get it. I do get it. I understand that. But when I'm making over 27%, which is what the max APR rate is, I can handle those finance charges. I can pay those back in fiat. I'm not paying the minimum balance on the credit card. So I understand what the gurus are saying for the masses, and you got to understand the masses means they have a lot of people who are not financially literate. They have a lot of financially ignorant, financially irresponsible people tune into their program. So they're speaking to them. They're not speaking to me. I'm not jumping in front of bullets that aren't meant for me, but I mean, we're doing it like we're doing it over here. And obviously we're showing actual portfolios, not just telling you I'm in positions, showing you I'm in actual positions with my actual money. So the two, like I was saying, the two metrics we're looking at over here is for the July income. I think if we have a pump during July and we start that ramp up, that escalation towards into this Bitcoin bull run. Now, we are in the bull run still, technically speaking, but it's volatile, which means there's going to be slams down, spikes up, bringing it back down, and like we're making higher lows with Bitcoin. The issue is, since I am heavily invested in Bitcoin, heavily invested in crypto, the crypto portfolio takes a hit when Bitcoin dips horribly. The traditional finance, my brokerage account, also takes that same hit. It's not as bad in the brokerage account, though. Like my altcoins, oh God, it's terrible. You'll see it tomorrow. But as far as this goes, we're just looking for that income. We're looking for those. And so like you can see some of the numbers they're projecting down here. So like last month they paid me out 184 for my Round Hill Bitcoin covered call. Where we're sitting at right now, we would be, let's see here, my ulti is over 100. So if it pays out what it paid last month, we're over $100. I want 100 shares even. Again, I like round numbers, so I'm getting those 5 shares. I want it to be a flat 100. My MicroStrategies options income paid pretty hefty last month. It was 360.57, and we've still got positions to get into on Coney and Misty, because these both need to be $10,000 positions. Now, if I would have had the $10,000 over here last month, that would have been a monster. If I would have had the $10,000 over here last month, Coney would have been a monster, which is the reason that I'm considering like dispersing those into these two, because man, that would have been some income. Let me tell you, sir. Oh my goodness. Oh my days. Like that would have been wild if we would have had one of those positions fully seated. But after we get this, we're going to do a snowball. And obviously we're taking all the other shares. We're taking 70% of those into the velocity banking. But the reason I was rushing this ulti position is the ulti, whatever we're actively DCAing, the ulti is going to roll into that. And we're going to snowball off ulti into that, because as long as it pays over $1 a share, it's going to be $100. It's going to be a couple of shares regardless every month, plus whatever I have coming in from the income. Plus we take a little bit of the dividend income off and bring that back in too. But we're also going to be shifting. We're going to be doing 10% that's just going to go into purchasing Bitcoin. Flat out. That's what we're doing. And that way we're building that wealth foundation as well. I'm also going to consistently have a trickle coming off of this going into Bitcoin every month based off what it's doing. Now, the interesting thing where stuff gets interesting for me is as we do these numbers, we're gonna start. That's gonna put a lot of leeway on me to start really steamrolling the Bitcoin fund as well, because as this grows, my Bitcoin investment grows. That means the foundation is getting built with the building. It's not going to be one of those scenarios where it's a house of cards and nothing to show. Once the debt's cleared, we're going to have a chunk of it go into long-term holds. We'll be buying long-term positions off of this. I'm going to go over some hypothetical positioning that I think would be pretty interesting in regards to utilizing these high-income ETFs to position yourself with actual stock if you're you double dip like I do. But yeah, like this is going to be a big play, especially like while I'm still working. Like if I shift over and put all of my my regular everyday consistent expenses, so that would be rent, utilities, phone, and whatever streaming services I've got, and just start pulling that out of this monthly after we get it going, like that could be an option as well, especially once we get to the point to where those credit cards are done and we're doing the year of infinite banking out of this account. I think that's going to be really interesting. It's got me really excited. It's got me very, very much in a position of where I'm trying to strategize to make the most efficient moves with my money so that I can not have to be in the rat race. I want to be voluntarily, 100% voluntarily in the rat race. I want to be able to, I do want my life set up to where I'm not stateside all year. I at least want half the year out of here. And I think what we'll be doing is we'll be looking to do some house hacking out of the country and setting myself up to where that's also going to be a play that we can make. And, you know, if you get that set up one place, if you're out of the country for 6 months, I might break that up to where it's like 3 months one place, 3 months another place, or figure out 6 places and 2 months each in succession and just cycle through it, you know, get to be a world traveler and then whittle it down. Cause like, honestly, like the less time I'm in the States, I feel like it'll be the better, especially moving forward, but it'll also allow me to start setting up investments outside of here as well as the ones that I have here. So we're looking for some major diversification. We're working hard, grinding it out. It's not a matter of not wanting to work. I just don't want to have to work. And I understand there's a huge push with all the gurus out there to say that everybody who doesn't want to just grind their faces to death is lazy. And to a certain extent, I feel like if you're sitting online complaining about having to go to work, there's some credence to that. But I'm not complaining. I don't mind going to work. I just don't want to have to. There's a difference. Also, I'm under a firm belief that 90% of the time I'm doing work that's beneath my intelligence level. And I'm pretty sure that this will prove it, because like once I don't have to go in and I'm able to just create and generate wealth, and like I've given the receipts, I'm not sitting up here talking about stocks. I'm showing you the stocks that I'm holding in my actual portfolio. And as we build these out, for all the naysayers, you'll get to see me either win or lose. I know you guys are hoping, but I mean, most of the gurus are just showing you like I bought some stock receipt on their phone. They don't want to show you portfolios. They don't want to show you they're actually doing the stuff they say in these little boxes. And you know, I'm not like that. Like I like showing the portfolio, and I do respect that. Shout out to all of my high income ETF bros. A lot of those guys show the receipts too, and it's wild because you go to some of these other channels and it's just gurus talking about stock, or a guru showing you that he bought some stock at some point. Like, you don't get to see what the position's doing. You don't know if he's up or down. He just telling you stuff. Man, it's wild out here in these streets with the way that these people have opinions, but like, and talk about receipts, and their identification of receipts is like literally just showing you, hey, look, I bought some stock and I know what I'm talking about. Like, what's the position? Like, are you up? Are you down? Like how does that work? Like, we don't even know if you suck at this. Cause like right now, this month, I suck at this. Last month, I was a genius. But like, it's showing you the contrast. You can have months where you're up and things are gaining. You can have months where you're down and everything is a nightmare. And how you navigate through the nightmare gives context to why you talk your shit when you're winning. So until next month, people, this was the portfolio update for the month of June. Tap back in with me. Next month, we'll be sharing this again. Obviously, we have we do this the first of every month. I try to do it the first Monday of every month, but if the first is on a Monday, you're going to get it on likely the second. So here we are. Till next time, folks, it's your boy Reckless Raid and Arrow, and peace. We out.
Money on my mind. Yeah, focus, got no time for games. Nah, I don't play it, I'm all about that financial literacy. Investing in my future, building generational wealth. Dollar bills, they be calling my name, but I ain't chasing fame, I'm chasing change. Learn the game, now I'm playing it smart. Putting my money to work, it's an art. I'm stacking paper, building my own empire. No more living check to check, I'm getting higher. Investing in stocks, real estate, and more. Gotta secure the bag, that's what I came for.